Hello, Tubesters, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Forgot my usual catchline there. Still working with his phone. I'm just prepping up another 3 of these Periplastic 28mm figures. Not a lot of light on the subject, is it? There we go, is that better? This is one that I've almost completed. He's just got to have a bit more done to his face. Put a couple of skin tones in. Put a silver on the, well, I actually coat the blade and the scabbard with some silver. It's funny how paint manufacturers change the look of the paint sometimes, or I don't know if they actually change it or whatever happens, but this is like the oily steel. I think this one's the oily steel from Vallejo, and it's on paint on a black background, which I prefer to do on metallics. But it has a much darker look to it than the ones that I've had before, as you can see on the sword or saber. So what I normally do with these anyways is get a turquoise wash. It's not a wash, it's an ink, and I water it down even more, and then just apply it over the sword, just to give it a more blued effect. Not essential, obviously, but yeah, this is our guy. For some unaccountable reason, I've completely missed priming the base, and I do like to paint them, so I'll have to be priming that before I do anything else. But these blanket rolls underneath on these hussars, it said it was like a blue. Well, I was reading online because normally I paint them grey. Somebody said, or a few people actually had said, it's a greeny grey, and I wasn't 100% sure. So I give them a London grey first, and then I put a weak wash of dark green paint over them, and then I'm fudging it really because it looks. Let me just move to one side as my pup decides to push his way through. As it can be taken as a dark grey or a greeny grey. I've got to put a bit more amaranth orange red on the woodwork of the carbine. But no, he's coming along. I've done a couple actually. We've got a trumpeter. They are having their own video coming up once this one's finished, because I normally do 3 and then show you fellas and fellarettes. I've got to try and make a number 5 in the roll there, portmanteau. Sorry if you can hear the little children in the cul-de-sac. We call them the Anthill Mob, after remember the cartoon from the Hanna-Barbera cartoon back in the day, the Anthill Mob. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I did look online on eBay, ready to buy another box of infantry or cavalry, whichever came cheapest, of Napoleonics. And I was going to pull the trigger on 1 out of 2. I put 2 in the cart just to have a think of what I was actually going to be, whichever. And it was just down to the cheapness. And then once they were in with £1 or 2 difference of each other, it was going to be, whatever floats on my boat. One was French Napoleonic infantry. The ones I've painted before, though, the 1812 Bardine issue uniform up to like 15. And I fancied, if I was going to do the French infantry, I was hoping I could have done the earlier one that they did. But the Perry box is just like everything, just shot up. You used to be able to get a Perry box on eBay. If you hunted around, you could get them for around anywhere from, with the postage, anywhere from 18, 19 to 21 quid. 18 or 19 was a good day. Hence why I've got a box of cavalry in the stash to do. But normally, you were looking at around the 21 mark. Well, they're pushing up 27 now with the postage. And yeah, we all know it's not free postage, but if you can get something for 22 quid over 27, you're going to go that way, aren't you? I just so I put a box of the Bardine infantry in French, obviously, and then French chasseur light cavalry. I've never done those ones before in 28mm. and they were about £1, or no, they were £2 dearer. I know. But I paint, as you know, I get the enjoyment of painting, and then I sell them on, and it brings me a bit of income in, and obviously the process brings on another box. Um, and there were others out there, but as I say, at the moment, I didn't need to spend like 26, 27 quid, and these were 5 or 6 quid cheaper. And I thought to myself, Gav, you've got those British hussars to do, and I thought, well, I've just painted hussars. Well, I am painting hussars. I just do I really want to paint some more hussars? And then, finally, the penny dropped. Gav, you've got a box in there you've already paid out for. Just paint them. Why do you need to go and spend another 20 odd quid on a box of Perry's? Also, Paul from Plastic Monkey Channel had sent me some that I think he'd done one or two. And I have got some of those primed, but I'm just painting those, and I was going to sell them in batches of just like skirmishy type units of 6 or 8 figures. And I didn't fancy doing those. So yeah, it's probably going to be some British light. I think they're actually light dragoons rather than hussars. I can't remember now. But I was going to do them with the Tarleton caps on, hats, caps, helmets, whatever you want to decide. So yeah, putting these together, giving them a sand and a scrape. I try and scrape them first, obviously using my, where's it gone? Blunting up fast Swan Morton, and also give them you tend to find if you use something like this, I'm not going to do this because get your teeth on edge, but if you get one of these, it'll make your blades last longer, or some form of, oh my life. I'll tell you what, guys, if this pop farts any more times under this desk, by life, my eyes are watering. I'm going to get a nosebleed in a minute. Sorry, you didn't want to know that, but oh my life. Get yourself one of these cheap eBay sharpeners. I mean, they're not brilliant, but they're good enough, and it'll make your blades last longer. I mean, one of them oil stones is the best things to have, but usually with Gav it was priced. This was cheaper, so this is what Gav got a while ago. Any of you guys going to do these? Are great sets. All of the cavalry are great sets in the Napoleonic range, but obviously it's the same process for doing any other medieval or American Civil War cavalry and that. I obviously take these lumps out first. I don't use my best Tamiya cutters. I use these cheaper ones that I got from Dave Coley when I bought a model off him. Put these in for free. And I tend to use these for doing the thicker plastic, soft, well, it's not soft plastic, is it? But you know what I mean, this type of work. But yeah, pinch this out, give it a sand. It shouldn't be seen once the rider's butts on it. Obviously, follow your mould lines. As I was trying to say, I tend to use the Swan Morton first as a scraper, and then use obviously, these are all fairly bust up now, but small sanding sticks. Try not to sneeze. Don't sneeze, Kev. Puts the punters right off. Right. All I'd say with these guys are, you will sometimes see the gap there, and you'll have to use some form of mod. If you're fastidious, put some modelling putty underneath that crack there. I don't use the Vallejo. Let me get it because it's at arm's reach. I don't use the plastic putty for that. I actually use. Guys, when do I always? I can't. I have a block on the name of that stuff, and I use it all the time, but it's not on the bench. But the epoxy 2-part stuff, the stuff I'm on about. I just can't remember it. But yeah, I put that down, and I use either water or IPA, because I've always got a bottle of IPA on the desk. Because if you use IPA with this stuff, when you're smoothing it out, it evaporates a lot quicker. So that's Gav's top tip. But yeah, I just I use these again, just cheap eBay. Sorry about this crispiness. See, they're well used, and I use these soft clay shapers, but there's miniature ones to move the stuff around. Very, very useful. And obviously, I'll try and just move the bodies around on these, so I've got a couple of different extra poses if possible. But yeah, lovely figures. The age-old thing is, do you put your rider on and paint him or not? I didn't used to. I used to, drill a pinhole and put him on a piece of opened up paper clip. In fact, I still use said paper clips. So you just open one up, then snip the bit off you want. But I use them, as you can see, to open up paint pots when they get dried up. But I put my riders on because in the past I just thought, well, you know what? I always, when I was doing the 18 mils and whatever, I stick riders on the horses and paint around them perfectly okay. You do get a bit the odd, you might get your paintbrush hitting the wrong part, but it's not hard to touch it up, And I think that works a lot better because you get a nice join with your rider. People put super glue on them, and the problem with super glue, they get a knock in transit, not enough to obviously damage a figure, but they can come off. Whereas if you're using the old extra thin Tamiya, it will. Its job is to melt them, or you could use the thicker white cap stuff. Or the only thing with the extra hot is it tends to evaporate a bit quicker for doing this type of work than you need. The strapping that holds down the portmanteau is not. Once you put some paint on, doesn't always show up so well. So just make sure you've got your centre one, and that tends to get a bit of putty all the way down there as well. That tends to show up as a bit of a crack or gap. It's not a crack, is it? But a gap, and along here as well. But what I tend to do is, if you put enough glue on and then pinch it together, you'll have it ride up like a weld. And then once it's dry, which only takes a few minutes, obviously you can sand it back, and it will do half the filling for you, especially like under the belly and that. So yeah, just to catch up to see what I'm up to. No, there's no point with trying to get the box. Let's just see if waste of time. No, I haven't got this tripod extended. So yeah, doing that. I was going to give you an update on Amethyst. I was just realised I hadn't put many videos up, and it was nothing to do with the camera for a change. As I say, I'm getting used to using the phone. I can't believe I'm doing it. I've actually, for a guy who didn't even know you could do this with his phone, I got a what they call it, like Photoshop, but it's a free one called GIMP. Yes, I know. Chuckle. Please leave the room if you're going to. And it's a free Photoshop thing, and I've got no chance of really doing this, but let's give it a go. Well, of course, YouTube's your friend. There was a young British lad on there with about 1 million odd subscribers, and he was talking through the process of removing. See, I'm doing these, hence these bits of thing here, making door hinges for the cars that I do, the Hot Wheels. And I want to make some decals for them, headlights, and I want to do some rally cars and stuff like that. And I cannot believe I've been bombarding Beetle through the email with, look, I've done another one. I've managed to take a headlight off a rally car, in the photograph, and put it to my computer, ready to print. I haven't sized it, I must admit, but ready to print decals with, and little things like that. I just wanted to put that out there because the guy that didn't even know you could turn this on its side and it would give you this type of view print. And I've actually been able to start making decals by actually literally removing objects from a photograph. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Oh, mate, my wife said all she could hear of me was chuckling away for a change, and just really excited that somebody whose brain, and it really is, I am suffering with my head a lot at the moment, and but to actually do something like that when I couldn't even work out, and it had to take Beetle and the rest of you guys, they say many hands make light work, to get me to use my phone and to transfer it onto my computer down a wire, and then I wouldn't have to be spending anything on sending things to clouds and stuff. Amazing. Right. I just wanted to put this up. I just fancied having a chat. I'm sorry if it bores you. It's Gav's channel. Move on to something else. But I just thought I'd show what I was doing. I'm not a big fan, like most of us, of sanding. It takes a while, especially with these because I've got to stick all the figures and clean them off yet as well. But this is as far as I've got. And the amount of talking I'm doing, I'm probably not going to finish this tonight. But I have promised myself tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening I can work on me Hot Wheels diecast again. I have to make myself. Sounded well Welsh. Bavarian. He is the last one of that unit to do. I thought I'd done them. I thought, great, I can. Most are on bases apart from the last command stand, which he's obviously going to be part of. And then I realised I hadn't done the Bavarian, whatever, the blue marks around the top of the hoop of the drum. I hadn't painted his plume at the time. Oh yeah, and I wanted to just upgrade his red a bit. Just needed a bit more of a red to it. So yeah, just when you think you've finished a particular project, but those Bavarians are almost, when he's done, the Bavarians will be done. Hurrah! They've only been sitting around for about 2 years. Well, it feels like 2 years. It probably has been. And these guys, these were just. I started these when I was doing a commission for some ABs, and I just wanted to change. Sometimes I have to, for me, Ed, I just need to change things. And I thought, right, if I do paint these along the side, just give me a break and do something different. So yeah, I want to get these together so I can prime them tomorrow because I've got a 1 in 24 car I can finally get under primer tomorrow. So I want to do that as well. So look after yourselves. Thanks for all your kind words. Thanks for your constant help and support. You all know who you are. You always stand up and give me just a bit of advice or just say, Gav, keep moving forward and all that. You don't know how much it's appreciated. They always say, talk about stuff. You don't want to pile all your grief on people, but it's just nice sometimes that people can like drag you to your feet type of stuff. So it's greatly appreciated. Look after yourselves. Hope this video uploads, and we'll catch each other soon on another video.